It's not the kind of shit they talk about on TV. Come on, let's go chat shit.
Oh, all right then. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special edition of Let's Chat Geek. This is a special edition because we said we were going to do What If, but we haven't got around to it. However, me and the Magic Man himself, Mighty Fozzie, has just been to see Venom separately, might I add.
We were going to go together, but
we haven't spoke about this. This is groundbreaking. So, as always, I'm your host, Seamus Jordan. With me, as always, the Magic Man himself.
It's me. I'm the Magic
Mighty
Man.
Fozzie. So yeah, we've got back.
Got uniform now.
Got uniform. About an hour or so ago, and we were texting, but nothing. I just said to you, don't stay until the end.
Yeah.
So okay, Venom. Right, first thing. So very important. It's going to be spoilers. Also, like, share, subscribe, and all the rest of it. If you listen to on podcast, put a comment below, give us a little look, and then Gav will do his signature.
See, this works for us here because I can actually go there, and then I know where it's going to be because I can see the screen.
Yeah. So, spoilers ahead. We're going to talk about the whole film and break it down and just go over it. So, I'm going to give the floor to the Magic Man to open up how you feel about it.
Mate, I gotta be fair. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. Normally when I go into a film like that, just like not part of the MCU, not what I'm expecting, I'm like, yeah, I'll just go watch it. Like most of the DC stuff, I was like, yeah, I'll go watch it. I enjoyed most of it, but you know, speculative. I went in with an open mind. I went into this. I loved Venom 1. Flawed as it was, I still loved it. But I went into this, mate, and I gotta be fair. Every minute, I loved it. It was brilliant. I think there's only one part, and that's a story based part that I was a bit like, yeah, but other than that, mate, I'm just I'm there all day for that. Gotta be fair. It was bloody brilliant. I watch a few YouTubers, so I watched the end. I watched the breakdown of the end credit scene, which, as you said, spoilers. And there was a question that was over my mind because a couple of the YouTubers have said that obviously Venom says the symbiotes have a hive mind and of knowledge.
Yeah, wait. Whoa. Let's go to that later. Let's do that towards the end. I think let's concentrate on the main part of the film.
All right, go.
To start with. I just
spoilers, like, you know.
Yeah,
all right, no worries. All right.
Up to it.
Okay, overall then.
We go off tangent too much.
Yeah, we do. Overall, I loved the film. The performances were great. The CGI was a damn sight better than the first one. I mean, there was obviously you could still see that there was CGI, but it doesn't matter. It looked amazing and it was silly and brilliant at the same time. Yeah, I give it a 7 out of 10. If we're going 7, maybe an 8. Definitely.
I would agree with that number. I don't think it was amazing. I think my biggest problem with it was it took too long to get going, and then when it got going, it was too short.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you?
It does.
You know, it's only a 92-minute film. So for me, it could have been a little bit more. Could have been a little bit more. I enjoyed it. The CGI was a lot better than it was in Venom 1. It's a decent story. It's not amazing. I'm not a huge fan of the ending. I sort of wanted it left open. I know they've left it open with one part, and we'll go into that in a minute.
I agree with you on that one. That's one bit that I was like, really? Yeah. But it's what happens is a Sony trope in it, so you know. But yeah.
Yeah, so it seemed a bit final. So I think it was good. I liked the back and forth a little bit, but there was parts in the film that I felt didn't need to be there, like the whole Venom in the dance rave thing.
Yeah, okay. It could have been. It was funny, but it worked. That bit worked because it was showing Venom that he was like kind of bigging him up, wasn't it? But I agree with you. It's one of those pointless fun scenes. It's there just for the kicks.
I think if we would have got more, I wanted more Carnage.
Okay. But going back to that little scene a sec, The scene itself was used to show that Venom can't live without Eddie. That was the whole point of that. Was the whole everyone, obviously he jumps from people to person, and that was the whole point of that. But I agree, doing the nightclub bit, and I mean, he's in a nightclub. We've all been to nightclubs. We've all walked out there going, "Hey, what? Huh? What?" So if they're sensitive to sound,
I would have been fine with that scene if we would have had more of the other stuff.
Okay.
I think it would have broken up fine, but 92 minutes, there wasn't, we didn't see Carnage for the first 30 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed quite deep into the film before we even got to that point. So I would like to have seen more Carnage. I felt it was all done over like sort of one night, and it was all a bit rushed rather than it could have been bigger and better. Do you know what I mean? It could have been dragged out over a couple of days or a couple of weeks. Them two running around San Francisco causing more problems. And you could have had the better. So the fallout of Venom, obviously, and Eddie Brock trying to come together again, then realizing that they needed to come together, it would have worked a little bit more smoother.
Yeah.
Rather than being quite forced, if you would.
Yeah.
It's decent. I enjoyed it. I went to Cineworld and I went to their new screen.
Oh, you went to the 4DX one, did you?
Or no, it's not the 4DX. It's the
Ultra
Super screen or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was £14. Never again. Never again. It was cool. It was a cool concept. I know we're going off the film here, but you had the screen in front of you, and then on certain scenes, it would go up the walls.
Oh, okay.
So it was different, but if it would have been curved, it might have been a little bit better.
So that's pretty much.
Yeah,
Edda's chicken, yeah.
Yeah,
mate, you say that. Mine scenes, was this,
but yeah,
I was right at the front, looking straight up. I was at a competitor at View Cinema for £5 in a reclining chair.
Yes.
Well, these
chairs recline now, but they're not comfortable. Like I couldn't get my leg up to sort of sit on my leg.
Okay.
So my legs had to stay down the whole time, and
I'd sit like that as well.
Yeah, it was just a little uncomfortable, but yeah, it was a cool concept that it goes like either side. It was only on certain scenes, and it didn't really take away, but it didn't really add anything either.
Okay.
I didn't know I was doing that screen. I just went to the first showing.
Yeah,
and that was the first showing.
Nice.
But yeah, it added bits and pieces, but nothing major. The film was good. I was quite disappointed. So, as we've already, if you're still listening to this now, there's supposed to be.
Thanks.
Yeah, great. There's supposed to be 2 cuts.
Great.
Yeah, great.
Great. Yeah, go on,
him. So I sat in the cinema, and I looked on Google, and Google said there's one mid-credit and there's one right at the end. Don't leave until the end credits. This is the top Google thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, so I sat all the way through, got all the way to the end. There was only 3 of us left in there. Nothing. So I instantly texted you and said, just stay for the mid-credits.
You text me and said, stay for the mid-credits, literally, right, as that animation bit comes on before it cuts to the bedroom. And I was like, okay, I'll go after this one. Literally, as that finished, I got up. There's like a row of kids next to me. They're like, oh, he doesn't know. And I went, yep, there's nothing at the end. And the guy just looked at me and went, wow, my mate's at the other one. There's nothing. He's literally just sat there for it. And they went, oh, boys, get your coat. And they all got up. And the guy behind him was like, I don't trust him. He sat back. I went, no worries, mate. Right, I went. So if there is one now, mate, it's on you.
Well, I was there. The lights came up. The screen turned down. So unless Cineworld aren't showing that part, but so okay, let's go mid-credit scene. I think that was the highlight of it all.
It is. Let's break it down because obviously we're about 5 minutes into our podcast, mate. We normally talk for like an hour. I know we go off on a tangent, but let's break it down. Let's talk about because obviously you know the backlog and the backstory of how the comics built Carnage in loads of different ways. So you can pull from little bits and see where they've gone. I can't remember. Is it Toxin? The teased bad guy. In my head, it was the one that hates symbiotes, right? And he tries to kill. Yeah, I know that because I think he turned up in one of the Spider-Man shows when I was a kid or something. And that was his thing. He was after Venom for some reason, but Venom was always a bad guy anyway, or anti-hero. So yeah, The lethal enforcer? No, lethal protector.
Lethal Protector.
Because
Yeah.
wasn't that the Venom comics?
Yeah.
And he
The
was an
first one
anti-hero.
was called. Yeah.
Yeah, and they kind of play it as a little bit of a joke, but then it gets accepted, doesn't it? Because obviously he says the
Yeah.
lethal protector, and Eddie's like, no, we're not doing that. And then they say it together when they do that whole, come on, Spider-Man. Come on, Spider-Man. Yeah, you know what I'm on about. So,
Yeah.
let's
So
talk then.
so the end, the mid-credit scene, the only
Mm.
credit scene, after credit scene. I've never, even though I had a feeling it was coming, because there was bits we know.
Yeah.
I've never moved and been so shocked in my seat in a cinema in such a long time.
Okay.
Um,
You went in completely blind then?
yeah, I stayed
Oh,
away
well
from
done,
the
well
horror.
done. No, I went searching. I was like, oh, okay, but
No,
yeah,
I had a feeling there was elements of it. I
yeah.
seen when he'd done a special preview screening, Tom
Mhm.
Hardy done stopped the credits just at the end of the film, got up on
Mhm.
stage with the directors and said, "Please don't say anything to anyone because everyone needs to see this." And I was
Mhm.
just like, "Okay, something big's gonna happen."
Yeah,
So let's break it down.
yeah.
So we have Venom and Eddie talking on a bed watching a Spanish TV show.
Now let's just backtrack a little. They're fugitives. It's the end of the film, and basically Eddie's run off and taken him to a beach. We see that at the end of before the credits roll. They're at the beach, so clearly this is the hut they're living in, or the hotel, or the room, or the wherever they're living now. You can clearly see it's beach ridden. Maybe it's Mexico. Everyone seems to go to Mexico in America, doesn't he? And if it's San Francisco, it's quite quick to just go south and you're there. But yeah, chances are that in Mexico there was a beach, and now you can see it's a warm hut, everything's sandy and thing, and yeah, they're on a bed. It's all a mess. Carry on.
Yeah, they're watching a TV show and there's a whole thing. I think it's in Spanish, maybe Mexican. I don't know what the language is. I apologize. And they just comes up with a part about secrets, and Venom turns around and says, "Everyone has secrets." And Eddie asks, "Is there anything you're not telling me?" And he says, "You couldn't comprehend
It
your
would
little
blow, wouldn't it?
brain,
Your little brain would
your little brain, or your little
explode on
mind
the
couldn't
yeah.
explode. It couldn't comprehend and would explode with the amount of knowledge I have that
What is
we're
it?
sunk."
80,000 years of
Yeah.
symbiote hive knowledge, I think is the word he uses.
So as soon as that was said, I thought, because we seen something the other day, I sent it over to you.
Yeah.
That there's rumors going around that Sony want to bring
Null
into the Sony Marvel Cinematic Universe. We're just going to call it the Sony verse for a minute. So I thought that's what it was going to be. It was going to be like a Null reference, and maybe then that's where that rumor started coming from. And then all of a sudden, he's like, "Yeah, okay, I'll give you a little bit." And then the weird thing happens. Now we're going to go into details on this now because I would imagine you've got your theories and I've got mine.
Like I say, the question that I had, right? So I watched, obviously, I watched the YouTube videos this week to get a glimpse onto the film because I thought, you know what, I'm not as invested in Sonyverse as in the Venom, so I'm happy for it to be spoiled. So I watched a few, and it came up and told me what happens, and it says the Venom does this thing with obviously what we've just explained. He sits on the bed and he says about the knowledge, and then something happens in the room, and it's portrayed that Venom did it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Venom has opened this mind, and even people even in all the YouTube breakdowners, or the people that do the essays, they're like, Venom shows Eddie this on the screen. No. He even says, Eddie goes, "What have you done?" The entire room has changed. They're in a totally different place, and Venom straight away goes, "It wasn't me." So I'm like, okay, so maybe it wasn't Lizard in the trailer that we watched, because obviously where we're about to go for this, that was the question I had was, where's the symbiote from the MCU that gave the knowledge to this hive? But Venom literally says, that wasn't me.
Yeah, so basically, I'll just finish the thing. It all goes funny. They end up in a different room, still on the beds. It's more of a hotel room now than it is a hut. Yeah. And all of a sudden, you hear the voice of none other than Jane Jonah Jameson reporting that Spider-Man is none other than Peter Parker.
Yeah, but it's the daily report, the thing that we see at the end of Far From Home.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing.
It's the exact same daily report, but the clip's different, isn't it? Because you see the clip of Tom Holland in the spider suit with his hat off, and it's a totally different clip. We've never seen that footage before, so that's totally new Spider-Man footage. But yeah, it's the same. He's literally that's confirming that those two now, Venom and Eddie, are now part of the MCU, or in the MCU, not part of, in the MCU.
Yeah. So this raises the question of at what point does this take place? As you just said, some of the YouTubers are turning around and saying, "All right, Venom did it," and then maybe it's a case of it's a crossover with, because he's on about the knowledge shared, but that means it's shared across universes and a multiverse.
Yeah.
Or is this a case of, even though it's a similar report to what we've already seen, it is very much after Doctor Strange does what he does, and this is.
So you're thinking that when the bit we see in the trailer where Doctor Strange is like, "Stop messing with the spell," and then everything explodes.
Yeah.
That's this moment, right? That's the end credit scene here. So that explosion, everything comes back in. Sorry, just had to give it a pest. Everything happens. It comes back in, and that's basically that moment we see Eddie gets brought into this universe. That's what you're thinking, yeah?
I don't know. I'm not 100% sure about any of this, obviously, but in my mind, I'm just like, I think that's before Doctor Strange, because the way it is.
Okay.
But it is different footage, so I've got to go on the premise of if it's before Doctor Strange, how is he jumping into the MCU? Yeah. So, like
I say, it's different footage. It could be that's the next report. That's the bit, like you say, that's the bit that comes before the spell. So I think it is before the spell, but again, why would Venom be dragged into the MCU before the spell unless there was a reason for it?
Yeah.
I mean, like, in a multiverse, if someone can, like the Watcher, for instance, can look through the multiverse, and see all different variations, he would see Venom as being Spider-Man's nemesis. So that would be a good reason to go, well, let's take Venom from there and put him here. Yeah, you with me? That makes sense. But
yeah, and it took an interesting turn as well, because obviously Venom licks the screen and says, like he's going to go after him.
Yeah, it was.
And
I'm just quite a weird moment, wasn't it?
So for me, I'm starting to think that is after the spell, and maybe he's. We did mention this previously on the podcast that it wasn't the lizard in the background, that it is Venom.
Hang on. Busy. Busy. Go.
So it's not Venom. It is lizard. It's not a lizard.
I'm gonna make noise. Venom. Yeah.
That's right.
But if you look at the footage and you raise the exposure on it, though, you see it has a tail, which doesn't make sense. But a lot of people now are speculating. Yeah, I think it's a lizard. A lot of people are speculating that Venom's the sixth, because obviously we've only seen 5. However, there's rumors that the 6th is someone else, someone that you and I are both hoping that turns up in it. But Mr. D'Onofrio is being very secretive about his projects at the moment, which is spot on. Samuel L. Jackson, take notes.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing you saw that tweet that went around this morning.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that, mate. I didn't have to hashtag it.
So it's an interesting scenario now, because obviously I've given my theories on what I think happens in No Way Home.
Yep.
I think he goes into the Sonyverse.
Yep.
But if he goes into the Sonyverse, then Venom's. Is this the case of it is after Doctor Strange, and this will be part of what he's got to do? He's got to fight them in the MCU and send them back to their own universe, and then he'll end up getting trapped in one of them.
That'd be one of those moments, wouldn't it? Where, this whole Venom situation now could have opened a totally different door. So let's say, for instance, right, halfway through No Way Home, Venom bonds with Spider-Man. All right, same way as we've seen in this film, he jumps from person to person, bonds with Spider-Man, realizes that he can stay with Spider-Man, he can survive there. Eddie gets sent back. Venom then misses Spider-Man, and Spider-Man does that whole gotta get you back to your universe, or do I keep you here? Realizing that Venom's making him bad, goes to take him back. That makes sense. Yeah. What if that's the way they play it? So it's like it gets to the end, And the two of them are in that universe. Venom's part of Spider-Man, and Venom's talking to Spider-Man about it, and Doctor Strange is like, "You've got to take him back. He can't survive on his own. He can't travel through the portals on his own. You have to take him." I'm thinking it's more of a case of, as Doctor Octopus or one of the bad guys gets dragged through, just grabs him at the end and drags him in, drags Spider-Man in with him. But it's this. They've actually left themselves with lots of doors now, and the speculation is through the roof.
Yeah. So
Thanks,
it
guys.
came out yesterday, and you sent it to me that Tom Holland has said that No Way Home is sort of the end of the franchise. I think that's been misconstrued after seeing what we've just seen.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very much the end of Spider-Man in the MCU.
Yeah.
But we're going to get Spider-Man in the Sonyverse. And maybe the other, if the rumors are true, look at Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. And, there's obviously the rumors going right now. There's going to be a fourth and a third one of them films. And then there's going to be another big crossover, and obviously the Null. So, and it sort of makes sense because it's bankable for Sony to do that.
Of course.
I think people forget that Sony don't need Marvel to survive with Spider-Man. While Amazing Spider-Man had its problems, they still done the Sam Raimi trilogy. They still had a hand in the Tom Holland trilogy. So long as they work along the same lines and they try and focus the same way, right directors, good writers, there's nothing stopping them from literally just taking away from Marvel now and just going, actually, we're going to make this massive over here.
Yeah.
And then big money crossover later on.
Spider-Man sells. I mean, like you say, Marvel don't need Sony. Let's face it, Marvel have done brilliantly on their own without Spider-Man. I mean, we got the Civil War, one of the biggest films that everyone was waiting for before Spider-Man dropped. The film was already the biggest in the MCU, and then they brought Spider-Man in. And it was like, ooh, the future's looking great for us now. But Sony needed Marvel at that time because they didn't know what to do with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then Sony come out and knock it out the park with Into the Spider-Verse. And it's like, that's what you do with Spider-Man, guys. You know what to do, but you're trying to match all this over here. Because, like you say, the Amazing Spider-Man franchise had their problems. They tried to set too much up. And it did feel like Age of Ultron set up literally all the other films to come after it. And it suffered because of it. Because it is one of the lowest ones in the MCU, but it is a fantastic film. Whereas The Amazing Spider-Man, number 2, kind of felt like it was setting too much up. And it did literally cost itself. Because the film was confusing. There was so many little bits in there that should have been, like 2 bits should have been long and 5 bits should have been gone. Instead, they went, no, let's just chuck all 10 bits in, just trim them so they make sense. And it never worked.
Yeah, they try to set up too much and try to go too quick, too fast. They needed to, but this, I suppose, this opens the door for them now.
Definitely.
they've got opportunities to look at different things. So we can leave Tom Holland Spider-Man universe here and take Tom Holland out, as I've said, drop him in the Sonyverse, and then slowly regrow that. But I think what Tom Holland has said and how people have misconstrued it, I think it's a case of it's the end of that. But actually, we're going to find out it's the beginning of this.
Agreed.
So it's going to be an interesting couple of.
Yeah, see, it's not just me that has people visit them during I'm trying to do a podcast here, woman.
All right. I'll do a podcast though.
Don't swear. You're live on Big Brother.
All right. Yeah, so it'll be an interesting. I've got to do this now. I'm trying to spoil it for Laura because she hasn't seen it.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Oi, no swearing. She said Fox.
Oh, actually, we've talked. It doesn't matter.
We've finished with that anyway. Yeah,
we're talking about theories for No Way Home. Oh, right, okay. Well, your interruption, my interruption. It's been fun.
Yeah.
What we get for not doing it in
of course, mate. Of course.
Environment.
Of course. On that, in the next couple of, the next couple of weeks, by 15th, the 28th is 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, I'm going to have a little device about this big, right? So I can attach it to my gimbal for my camera so that I can film on there. So my camera doesn't overheat like it did when we did the first interview. Remember I said it kept overheating? So I bought a thing that'll record. The best thing is, not only will it record on SD card, it'll take an audio input and the HDMI input, so it'll record on there. I'm hoping that when I got that, we can use that for the podcast. I'm hoping that we can just record it all on there. Bang! I can bring it home, chop the ends off, add the intro. Bob's your uncle. We don't have to do it like this. Not that I don't mind doing it like this. I'm sat in my own home. I would have had a beer, but I was too busy faffing with my delivery. Mate, it's like I needed a new battery for my. I think I said this.
You've said
this. Let's not go down
there. I think just wrap this up now because
we should.
A 2-year-old come in now. So
that's all right.
Have you got any theories?
We were talking Spider-Man. No, to be honest, mate, I quite enjoyed it. The only thing, like I say, what you said, I didn't much like the ending. The Sony trope is to kill off your bad guys, and it's like they've killed off the bad guy yet again. And not only did they kill off the bad guy, they killed off the best bad guy for Spider-Man ever. So, and it's like, too bad.
Yeah. All right then. Okay, so we'll wrap that up there then, and we'll go into more detail next week when we have a chance to, because we'll have a bit fresh mind.
We have to start organising these podcasts again, mate.
Get them done properly. Yeah. Well,
ready. We'll be ready soon anyway. Look, it'll all be white soon. Look at this, nice.
Right. Okay then. I'm going to call it a day there.
He's calling it a day. It is a Friday.
Right. Yeah. So I will leave you with this thought. Spider-Man will be amazing. Spider-Man No Way Home was going to be amazing. Okay? No? Right. I don't know what to say now, mate. Any final thoughts?
No final thoughts from me.
Oh, I thought you wanted to say something then.
No, I was going to say he's been Shane Richard Jordan.
Yeah. He's been a mighty Fozzie. Good night, God bless, all the best. Look, no pen. There you go.